Hare Krishna. Today we will be discussing from the chapter 1, text 39, its translation and explanation of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, which was written by Srila Prabhupada. Text 39. With the destruction of dynasty and the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligious practice. In the system of the Varnasrama institution, there are many principles of religious traditions to help members of the family to grow properly and attain spiritual values. The elder members are responsible for such purifying process in the family, beginning from the birth to the death. But on the death of the elder members, such family traditions of purification may stop, and the remaining younger family members may develop religious habits and thereby lose their chance for spiritual salvation. Therefore, for no purpose should be elder members of the family be slain. Text 40. Translation. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become corrupt, and from the degradation of the womanhood, O descendant of Vishnu, comes unwanted progeny. Good population in human society is the basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. The Varnasrama religion principles were so designed that the good population would prevail in society for the general spiritual progress of a state and community. Such population depends on the chastity of faithfulness of its own womanhood. As children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family by being engaged in various religious practices. Of religious activity should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the Varnasrama system. On the failure of such Varnasrama dharma, naturally the women become free to act mixed with men, and thus adultery is indulged in the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of war and pestilence. Text 41. Translation. When there is increase of unwanted population, a hellish situation is created both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. In such corrupt families, there is no offering of oblations of food and water for the ancestors. According to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by worship of Vishnu, because eating the remnants of the food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful action. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them can't even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in the subtle body and ghosts. Thus, when remnants of prasadam, food, are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghosty or other kind of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in a devotional life are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in a devotional life is not required to perform such an action. Simply by performing devotional service, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kind of misery. It is stated in Bhagavatam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligations, and has taken to the path of all seriousness, owes neither dues nor oblations to the demigods, sages, generals, living entities, family members, humankind, and forefathers. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of a devotional service to a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 42. Translation and explanation. Due to the evil deeds of the destroyers of the family tradition, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. The four orders of human society combined with family welfare activities as they are set forth by the institution of the Sanatana Dharma or Varnasrama Dharma are designed to enable the human being to attain his ultimate salvation. Therefore, the breaking of the Sanatana Dharma tradition by irresponsible leaders of society brings about chaos in the society, and consequently people forget the aim of life is Vishnu. Such leaders are called blind, and persons who follow such leaders are sure to be led into the chaos. Text 43 Translation. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplinic successions that those who destroy family traditions dwell always in hell. Arjuna bases his arguments not on his own personal experience but on what he had heard from the authorities, that is the way of receiving the real knowledge. One cannot reach the real point of factual knowledge without being helped by the right person who is already established in that knowledge. There is a system in the Varnasrama institution by which one has to undergo the process of ablution before death for his sinful activities. One who is always engaged in his sinful activities must utilize the process of ablution called prayachitta. Without doing so, one surely will be transferred to hellish planets to undergo miserable lives as a result of the sinful activities. Text 44 Translation. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit a great sinful act driven by the desire to enjoy the royal happiness. Driven by the selfish motives, one may be inclined to sure sinful activities as killing one's own brother, father, or mother. There are many such instances in the history of the world, but Arjuna, being a saintly devotee of the Lord, is always conscious of moral principles and therefore takes care to avoid such activities. I would consider it better for the sons of Dhritarashtra to kill me unarmed and unresisting rather than fight with them. It is the custom according to Kshatriya fighting principle that an unarmed and unwilling foe should not be attacked. Arjuna, however, in such a enigmatic position, decided he would not fight if he were attacked by the enemy. He did not consider how much the other party has bent upon fighting. All these symptoms are due to the soft-heartedness resulting from his being the great devotee of the Lord. Text 46 Translation. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken to the battlefield, cast aside his bows and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with the grief. While observing the situation of his enemy, Arjuna stood up on his chariot, but he was so afflicted with a lamentation that he sat down again, setting aside his bows and arrows. Such a kind and soft-hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive a self-knowledge. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-Gita in the matter of observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We will be going through the chapter 2 in coming days. Thank you.